everybody, and welcome to the Cat and Sam show. I'm Sam,
I'm
and
Cat.
This is Cat, and we're doing a little advent calendar thingy now. For those of you who watched day 6 yesterday, we thought we'd got it right, but we didn't, did we, Cat?
No, I failed.
Well, we both failed because I thought it was a stormtrooper, but apparently, do not get your knickers in a twist. We know now it's a clone trooper. So we're learning as we go along, aren't we, Kat?
Yes, because he has color in his uniform and the stone
helmet.
Well, I think it's whole uniform. Am I right in that?
Oh, okay.
The producer, maybe the guy with magic, can tell us. So if the whole thing got color in it, then it's a clone.
Got you.
If it's white, then it's a stormtrooper.
Storm. Right, marvellous. Well, now we know. So anybody fretting out there, don't worry, we know now.
We got it.
So do you want to start today? And so what day? Oh, we're 7. Day 7, aren't we?
We're on number 7. And I actually found 7.
December.
I found
Excellent.
7 on 6 when I was looking for 6.
Okay.
But I did not find 6 very easily. Now I found 7. Let's get in there. See what we got this time. Well, there's a lot of grays and browns.
Oh, okay.
So this
I can see a bit of red. Right.
This will be a challenge.
This will, and I will read my Mr. Men and Little Miss story. And what I also realise is I am going to show you the pictures. So that for those who don't know what these various Misters and Misses look like. Now, the story today is Mr. Tickle and the Dragon. So here we go. Are you ready?
I am ready for the dragon and
You're ready for the dragon. Mr. Tickle.
Mr. Tickle is in this one. I'm so
Mr.
excited.
Tickle.
I love it.
Mr. Tickle was having a very good day. 21 people well and truly tickled. A very good day indeed. But when he arrived home, he could not believe his eyes. I can't believe my eyes, he said to himself. Somebody has burnt down my house. Mr. Tickle's house was gone. All that was left was a smoking, charred pile at the end of his garden path. There was more smoke rising from the end of the lane, and Mr. Tickle set off to investigate. The smoke was coming from Mr. Funny's shoe car, or rather it had been his car, but all that remained was a burnt shoelace. Mr. Tickle could see another spiral of smoke in the distance. This time it was Mr. Clever's house, and very nearly Mr. Clever by the look of him. I just got out in time, said Mr. Clever. There can only be one culprit. It must have been a... But Mr. Tickle did not wait to hear what it must have been. He had spotted the signs of another fire and was determined to follow the train. So, here we've got Mr. Tickle and Mr. Funny. And Mr. Funny's burnt shoe. There we are. It was a long trail which led from Mr. Chatterbox's burnt-out phone box to Farmer Field's burnt-down barn, and on through wilder, bleaker land up into the mountains. Soon it began to get dark, but Mr. Tickle continued to climb higher and higher. Darkness had fallen when he saw a bright light. In the distance there was a cave emitting a red glow. Suddenly, Mr. Tickle did not feel very brave. Suddenly he wished he'd stayed to hear what Mr. Clever had to say. Mr. Tickle decided to wait there until the morning. He curled up under a bush and wrapped his arms around himself 3 times. To keep warm, of course. Mr. Tickle fell into a surprisingly deep sleep, and the sun was up when he was woken by the rustling of a bush. Mr. Tickle opened an eye. The bush rustled again. "I know you're in there," rumbled a very deep voice. "Come on, show yourself." Mr. Tickle cautiously poked his head out through the top of the bush and stood blinking in the bright sunlight. He was quite unprepared for the sight that met his eyes. He was standing face to face with a dragon. Ooh. And a huge dragon at that. A huge dragon with smoke curling from his nostrils. Mr. Tickle gulped. "Hello," said Mr. Tickle in a tiny voice. "I'm going to give you 30 seconds to give me a good reason why I shouldn't burn you to a crisp," bellowed the dragon. "And then I'm going to burn you to a crisp." Mr. Tickle gulped for the second time. Mr. Tickle needed to think fast. He realised his arms were hidden. Quick as a flash, he sent one of his extraordinarily long arms snaking through the bushes and under the dragon's belly. Mr. Tickle flexed his fingers and hoped beyond hope that dragons are ticklish. The dragon instantly crumbled into a giggling, laughing tangle on the ground. "Ha!" roared the dragon. "Hee hee!" wheezed the dragon. "Ho ho ho!" boomed the dragon. "Stop it! Stop it!" he cried. "I'll stop tickling if you promise to stop burning things," said Mr. Tickle. "Anything! I'll promise anything!" pleaded the dragon. Mr. Tickle stopped tickling and looked the dragon squarely in the eye. "What you need to learn," said Mr. Tickle, "is to put your fire breathing to good use. You should be using your extraordinary skills to make people happy. I'll show you." The dragon lay down on the ground and Mr. Tickle hopped on his back. Then the dragon shook out his great wings and took off, circling high over the mountains and swooping down to the distant valleys. They flew lower and lower, passing over barns and cottages. "Look," cried Mr. Tickle, "it's little Miss Splendid's house. I have an idea for your first good deed." Mr. Tickle and the dragon stood beside little Miss Splendid's swimming pool. "It's too cold today to swim in little Miss Splendid's pool," said Mr. Tickle. "Do you think you could do anything about that?" The dragon thought for a moment. Then he took a deep breath and breathed out through his nostrils. Flames licked across the surface of the swimming pool, and in no time at all, the pool was steaming. Little Miss Splendid was delighted. Mr. Tickle, the dragon, and little Miss Splendid had a very enjoyable swim. In fact, the dragon had a very enjoyable day. He melted the ice on Mr. Bump's path, and Mr. Bump couldn't have been happier, as most mornings he usually slipped up and bumped his head. He warmed up Mr. Forgetful's cup of tea, which he'd made at breakfast time, and forgotten to drink. Mr. Forgetful was delighted. He doesn't normally get to drink hot tea. And Mr. Greedy was very impressed when the dragon cooked 15 sausages all at once.
I wish I had him over.
I know. Warm your water, warm your tea, and cook your sausages. By the end of the day, the dragon had a big, glowing smile across his face. "Do you know what?" he boomed cheerfully. "I feel really good." Mr. Tickle grinned and then reached out his extraordinarily long arms. And what did he do? He tickled the dragon. "And now I do too," he laughed. And that is Mr. Tickle.
I like Mr. Tickle.
Absolutely, I thought you might. And how are you doing with your magic, my darling?
Well, it was a little challenging. but I succeeded.
Yay!
I have no idea what this is.
Oh, well, people are going to have to let us know then. I don't know.
I'm sure it's... Huh? Okay.
It's
its little head moves.
Do you think it's a receptacle, like a thing for
Oh.
Okay, so is this like a flying machine or a scootery type thing, or?
It's a little unstable. Hold on, I'm punching together.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, there you go. So, that's brilliant. He looks marvellous in that.
And
How wonderful.
And on to day 8.
Day 8. We will see you tomorrow for day 8.
Your story just tickled me. Good night.
Tickle, tickle. See you tomorrow. Bye.